At Tim Hortons, it's Nutella time. Your favorite Tim's taste meets the creamy hazelnut goodness of Nutella. Because some things are just better together. Enjoy our hazelnut mocha iced cap, latte, or iced latte, all topped with Nutella. Or savor our flaky croissant filled with Nutella and whipped sweet cream. Try the Nutella lineup today at your neighborhood Tim's. Limited time at participating U.S. restaurants.
Football Gods is the podcast where we give celebrity fans ultimate power over the beautiful game.
You can hear Ian Brody choose his ultimate football anthem.
I think You'll Never Walk Alone, which is a song about community, being together. I don't think you could have a better song.
And understand, above all else, what annoys Nader Manuel has.
A player who solely plays for themselves, but from the outside is perceived as being great to the team. Like, some of these guys are the most toxic people you could ever wish to play with.
Search the Football Gods wherever you listen to podcasts.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to Raw. I am your host for today, Guy. I am a late sub. Trev is feeling a bit under the weather, so get well, Trev. He's making me do this game, so it's his fault. But I'll introduce my guest and then we'll get into whatever the hell we just witnessed, because that was one of the mad games I've watched in a while. You heard him chuckling there in the background. It's Jim Boardman. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm doing well. Nice scoreline, isn't it?
Nice scoreline, but some undertones we need to discuss about, well, we might get into it in the starting 11, but we'll get there. We also have Dave with us. How are you doing, Dave?
Not too bad, mate, not too bad.
Good stuff, good stuff. Well, as I mentioned, we'll start with the teams, and Jim, I'll start with you. I suppose everyone would probably say the same, probably stronger than everyone expected.
Yeah, but again, I mean, it's... I don't know. You don't want to sort of lose the momentum that you're on, do you, by sticking a load of kids out? And I feel like it's getting to the more serious part of the season now. A bit like in the League Cup, you don't throw as many kids in as you get further on. The scoreline suggests that maybe we could have been a little bit more adventurous, but yeah. There's part of me thinks that a lot of it was down to as well just giving some players some minutes as well in some cases. I don't know. I'm not as convinced that Konate got a seriously bad injury and he went off because of the injury. I think myself that there would have been a plan that Virgil would have come on after 50-55 anyway, because we've kind of done that before. In cup games, him and Ibou and Virgil have kind of played roughly half a game each, with Kwanzaa playing both sides, and playing the whole game. I suppose the reason that Gomez started at right back was to give Bradley a bit of a rest for Sunday. So, bit of a mixed thing, but, I think... Like Robertson, for example, he's not played loads of games. Do you rest him or do you want him to play to get himself back into it? So quite a strong lineup, but again, we're still limited on what we can do. And I think there's a little bit of an element of which lads we start with aren't going to be the lads we finish with, but, who's the most likely to maybe last an hour? And I think that's what's happened. Other than that, I mean, I'm fairly happy with that lineup. I think it's a lineup that you'd expect to be able to win a game like that, or at least put a good showing in. Maybe, not to the level we did with the scoreline, but I think some of the other stuff we'll talk about in the game suggests why there was a little bit of some worrying moments despite the score.
Yes, well, the first half may take up the majority of this podcast, and it's all bloody in there. Dave, if you've noticed anyone missing from their side, feel free to mention it, but focusing on the Liverpool side, I think you mentioned in one of our WhatsApps, you're stronger than expected.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought, that Bobby Clark might start instead of Alexis. just because we have City at the weekend. But I guess with Klopp, and we have seen this before, where we have European game, big Premier League game, and then second leg of European tie. Jurgen has often gone really strong in the first leg, tried to get a heavy win, and basically put that second leg to bed, and also build momentum. And like Jim said, get lads into a rhythm, get them minutes so that they can just go straight into Sunday and then rest them all, or as many as possible, in midweek at home to Sparta before the United game. So like it does make sense. I actually agree with Jim, and I'll be really interested to see what comes out here on Konate. It felt to me, do you remember a few months ago, Gravenberch went off injured, and then Klopp said, well, he's not actually injured. It was, he felt something, and before it went, he let us know when we took him off. And I wonder, was it the same with Ibou, where he kind of felt a little bit of a twinge and didn't want to take any risks, and was probably under strict orders. And I would imagine most of these players are under strict orders. If you feel anything at all, let us know and we'll get you off, because we just can't afford to have any more injuries. I think the Gomez halftime sub was probably pre-planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd imagine the plan was to give Gomez 45 and Bradley 45. I didn't really understand the decision to take Darwin off when he took off Ibou. Now, unless, again, it was pre-planned that he was going to come off on 55 or 60, and Jurgen was looking at plotting out his subs across the half.
Have you got limited number of times you can make changes as well? So
yeah, you can do three. You can do three at half time.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine that's what it was. I'd imagine he was planning to make a change at 55, a change at 65, and a change at 75. Which he just brought the 55 one forward and brought Darwin off. And no harm. I mean, again, he's a lad we're absolutely going to need against City on Sunday. So all in all, like, we'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll hope that there's no injuries there. We get big minutes for Dominic tonight, and he gets a goal, and he had some moments where things went well for him. So that's positive. Mo comes back in and was robbed of what looked a perfectly fine goal. And we'll get into it, but I'm calling bullshit on that disallowed goal and the one that was allowed for them. But look, all in all, that tie is over now. We can put that to bed. So focus on City, and then it's United, and we're in pretty good shape, because after the international break, then more lads will be back.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, mentioning starting in good shape there, we started the game in good bloody shape. I mean, we should probably be 1-0 up in a minute and a half, where Darwin rounds the keeper. Him and Diaz seem to get in each other's way. Darwin's off balance and just can't connect with the ball. It doesn't really matter, seeing as we score 4 minutes later. But Dave, coming to you if you want to mention that first chance. We get a penalty. Interestingly, Mac takes it. I know Darwin missed the last one, but Mac's probably third choice overall, obviously more than Darwin. But, I mean, he puts it away cool, calmly, probably puts him up to at least second undisputed choice now, because no one's taken him off Mo, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Alexis would be first choice, because I think he's probably the one I trust the most. But Mo is going to take the penalties. It was interesting because, like you said, Darwin was on the pitch, but Darwin didn't seem to make any fuss about it. So obviously, it was something that had already been decided pre-game. Diaz 100% gotten his way on that chance, that first chance. If Diaz is out of the way, Darwin can move more to his left as he tries to get round the ball and gets a better angle to swing his foot at it. Because he has to go round Diaz, he's stretching and at a very awkward angle, trying to cut the ball back across himself. So, yeah, a little bit unfortunate. In truth, Darwin might as well have left it for Diaz and let Diaz have a shot. But like you said, 4 minutes later, it's brilliant from Alexis, just great anticipation. Nips in, robs the ball. My thing was because he went down, I didn't even care about the penalty. I was just praying he wasn't hurt. But then we were treated to the Fletch and Fletch and McManaman show, where they didn't seem to understand that a penalty had been awarded straight away, and they seemed to think a free kick had been given because they're not the brightest bunch of lads.
It wasn't even Fletch, to be fair. So
No, it's not.
Was
Fletch.
it not Fletch?
It wasn't Fletch.
But McManaman was filling in, I think, doing extra bits for Fletch with that one tonight.
McManaman was doing all sorts of madness. We'll talk a lot about him. But whoever it was anyway, and Fletch.
David Bauer, I think it was.
Well, he might want to find himself something else to do.
Steve Bauer, isn't it? He was a commentator on Radio City up here at one time, years and years and years ago. So, yeah.
The ref clearly gives a penalty. Like, he clearly gives a penalty, and the two boys are acting like it's a free kick. They're like, was it inside the box? Was it inside the box? Yeah. Clearly it was inside the box. And then, like, he goes, they're checking it. He's given the penalty. But he gave the penalty 30 seconds before that.
Yeah, the checking it was definitely a penalty because the ref says, right, pen.
Yeah.
Right. And now VAR goes, well, let's just make sure we can't find some way of changing this. But
not make sure it's offside, lads.
Yeah. Was there a foul in the? They couldn't possibly do it against Mac. Said it was a foul 5 minutes ago.
Oh, they could have.
Because it was only 4 minutes in.
They could have. Definitely could have. But yeah, Jim. I mean, on the goal, I think the impressive part is the work. Obviously, before it, it's fantastic pressing by Mac to win it and then win the penalty himself. But it's just testament. I mean, it feels like a long time ago when people were saying, he's not been the best signing. I think it was the Brighton game I distinctively remember where it's like, he's not settled in yet. And you fast forward to now, and he might be, if not one of, maybe the first name on the team sheet, because he's been phenomenal in two positions now, and he's basically leading the press. First ball from the defenders, just all our play goes through him, but he's just become a phenomenon, probably this calendar year more so than anything.
Yeah, I just love him. I mean, I love everything about him. There's a skill side to him where you can, the lovely balls that you get from him that he, like the one they put in the other day that sort of ruined Nottingham Forest's lives forever, even though it was all because of a drop ball. There was that amazing ball from him. There's this, the skillful side to him, but I just love how tough he is, and I mean, I get what Dave was saying as well. I was also worried when I saw him go down because maybe I imagined it, but I could have sworn I heard a good sort of clattering noise as it happened. Probably was just imaginary, but he just gets himself up, doesn't he, and carries on. And that is, such a good quality to have. I mean, if we're going to criticise players, quite often we do. It's the ones who sort of shy away from getting into tackles and, just basically don't put everything on the line. And I know that's a big ask, but they're being paid a lot of money and they're doing a job we'd all love to do, and you want them to put everything on the line, and he's the kind of player that does. But what I love about the penalty from him was, if I'm going to be critical of Salah's penalties, I hate that little dance thing he does, because I always think the more you do stuff like that, the more likely you are to kind of just slip a little bit and mess up your pen. Although that's probably more a reflection on me and my likely abilities if I did that before trying to take a pen. But just the keeper was arguing with the referee, bit of gamesmanship. Took an age for the referee to blow the whistle and say you can take the kick, because he was so sort of focused on any encroachment that might happen. They're all the things that can put a player off, but right in front of a noisy away crowd as well. And, away towards that is. And he just took his time. He just stood there. He just focused. He did whatever it was he does. A bit of mindfulness maybe, and then just smashes the ball right into that corner. Even if the keeper had guessed right, I don't think the keeper would have got near it. And it's good to know you've got that in your armoury, because, we don't get as many penalties as we'd like. I mean, we don't seem to get that many. Can't remember the last time we had one. It feels like an age. But they can be match-winning penalties, can't they? And that's just good to have someone that's got that cool, calm, collective look about them. And yeah, you're right. When we were playing Brighton, a lot of people were sort of critical. People saying, did we buy the right play from Brighton? I think this is just
we tried.
Well, yes, but I think this is it that we play. Some of them. I mean, Luis Diaz was a player that when we bought him straight away, he was running rings around everyone. We fell in love with him straight away. Brilliant play from the off, Luis Diaz. Other players take a bit of time to get into it, and I think what we've asked of him this season to play in a role that maybe he's not used to, he's done that okay. He's got better and better at that, and now I think he's excelling in this role where he can be a bit further forward, but he's still got that ability to be the person that people can't get through, which is what you need, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's just a complete midfielder. I don't think I'd trade him for anyone off the top of my head in the league, to be honest. He's just phenomenal. Dave, coming to you, I mean, the referee let a couple bookings go. I think there's one where Endo breaks up a counter-attack. But then we do forget how to defend for about 10, 15 minutes. It was very strange.
The ref had a mad owl game.
Yeah, he was weird, wasn't he?
Like, there was definitely probably 3 yellow card worthy events in the first 25 minutes. There's the Endo one. There was a couple of others on their side as well. Like the foul on Alexis for a penalty should very clearly have been a yellow card. And he was letting them go. And my assumption is it's because it's early in a European game. And that's how he's trying to ref it. He's trying to give players a little bit of leeway. And I massively respect that. I think that's how games should be refereed. But he was also like, he was letting their players lep and jump all over ours. Like, there was one moment where Cody Gakpo got rugby tackled and he let the game go on. There was another moment where Harvey got pushed off the ball and he let the game go on. He very much seemed to be, let them play. And then in the second half, he got a little bit funky with his whistle where he was blowing things up a little bit too easy. Like, there was that one on the left-hand side when Mo sort of ran up behind Kreschke, their captain, who was trying to cut the ball back in field, and he just fell over and gave the ball away, and he gave him a free kick. And I was thinking, like, how are you the same guy that let Cody Gakpo get rugby tackled in the first half? But we did forget how to defend, and it wasn't the whole team. It wasn't. It was one fella. One fella decided that he was going to spend his day playing as a winger rather than a fullback, and he left us entirely exposed down our left because he was far too advanced and out of position, and everybody else had to shift across. Now, Joe Gomez had a really poor first half for large stretches and then redeemed himself with a good clearance off the line. But Joe Gomez was getting no help from the 2 lads in front of him. The other fellow was just miles out of position in Andy Robertson. And every time they attacked, they were just getting it out to the right-hand side. And they had their right-sided forward, Bermancevic and Preciado, the wing-back, bombing forward. And Andy Robertson was trailing behind both of them. So Kwanzaa was having to go out and deal with one of them. Ibou's having to come across and deal with the other. And then Joe Gomez is left trying to deal with 2 and sometimes 3 because Zellini, the left wing back, is getting forward as well. And Harvey's not getting back at times into wide areas to cover him. He's trying to get back into central areas to block off the cutback, which is fair enough. But Andy Robertson just had an absolute shocker of a game. From start to finish, he was dreadful.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest, especially against when you've got City on the horizon, and his importance with the Ibou stuff is probably going to be more so. But Jim, let's take the positive from the poor of defending. I mean, Kelleher again. I think on this very podcast, this same trio of us 3 discussed Kelleher more in a negative light earlier in the season. But recently and again tonight, apart from that one corner, he was phenomenal again. He was commanding at times. He was sensational with a shot stopping again. His distribution was good. But apart from that one corner, just again, this 10, 15-minute stretch where we just went a bit wild, he was phenomenal again.
He was, yeah. And I think, we go on about how glad we are we paid all that money for Ali, that it's been worth every penny and more. We've had more than our money's worth out of him, and we hopefully keep getting more to come. But and it's difficult to come in as your second keeper. You hardly play a game, and all of a sudden you're called into action, and he looks to be gaining in confidence. I mean, there's still issues with him, and I think if he was our first choice keeper, there'd probably be a lot more complaints because he does make some sort of errors of judgment from time to time. He does sometimes seem to flap, or there's times when you think, I wish you'd just catch that instead of palming it out and things. But this is kind of being hypercritical after watching Alisson Becker in goal for us, and our standards have gone right up in the world, because of that. And I just think he's good to have there he's good to have as backup. And I'll be honest with you, I was really worried when I saw him go down. I'm needing some treatment, and it seems that was more a case of him being winded. Maybe even a bit on our part, a bit of just sort of calming things down a bit, wasting a little bit of time. But I think when he's facing one-on-ones, which seems to happen a lot. I don't know what it was tonight. It's probably something that Dave was touching on. We whenever we were attacking, it looked like there would be like twice as many of their defenders as our attackers in the box. Whenever they were attacking, it seemed to be twice as many attackers as our defenders in the box for some reason. I don't know. So in other words, we're relying on him a hell of a lot, and he's someone we can rely on. I think, yeah, he did make a couple of mistakes, but I think he more than made up for it. And I think as a team as well, there's something that when we're at our best, everyone makes mistakes, but when we're at our best, someone's there to pick up the pieces of that mistake before it turns into a disaster. So in that case tonight, Gomez, I mean, it was a great save, but almost wasn't. So Gomez cleared it off the line. Keeper gets hold of it, and we go again, as Stevie would have said. You're right. I mean, we have been critical of him, and I think every player's allowed bad games. It's just how they react to them and how they do when they get the chances. And I think since he's come back in this time, you're really stretching it to have any complaints about him, in my view.
Are you that person who has everything? The coolest merch and those must-have fan threads? Well, over at our Anfield Index shop, we've gone that extra mile when it comes to pimping up your Liverpool collection. From our popular range of bespoke design t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies and hats, to our signature edition mugs, prints and coasters, all provided with fast worldwide shipping. We have something for every red. We also stock official LFC merchandise and are licensed with the Premier League and UEFA to sell official iron-on shirt badges and sleeve patches. As a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off everything with coupon code AIPRO10. Just head over to AnfieldIndex.shop or find us on Etsy by searching for Anfield Index.
We have an Ibou update. Let me just open the Google. This is from one of the TNT post-match interviewers. Jurgen Klopp tells me post-match that Ibou Konate's substitution was precautionary. He said, if he carried on, it may be a problem, so we will see for Sunday. So it's basically what I think both of you said. If he hopefully just felt something, and even if he had an itchy leg, you're coming off.
Keep an air of mystery as well, so City don't know. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's positive, though. That is hopefully very positive, because he would be a huge miss. Now, look, Joe Gomez was man of the match in the home game against City last year, slotting in next to Virgil when he was in dreadful form, and Joe's been great this year. So if it's, I would go Joe and Virgil rather than Kwanzaa, just for the extra pace and the extra experience. But we're in pretty good nick at centre back anyway, because I mean he had a few ropey moments tonight because he was getting left exposed. But Jarrell Kwanzaa has been a revelation for us this season. And, he certainly looks more comfortable next to Virgil as well, playing on the right-hand side than he does on the left without Virgil. But, yeah, I think hopefully that's just a precaution, and Ibou's all good. So has there been anything said about Gomez?
I just looked on Twitter and it doesn't seem to be any update, but I think that was more just the commentators speculating.
Yeah, see, I thought that as well. Like, McManaman seemed to want to drive panic, didn't he?
Yeah, but
like, I don't understand why they do so. I'm thinking, this is what Liverpool have done in cup games this season. We've seen Ibou and Virgil sort of exchange places, sort of either at half time or maybe up to 55, 60 minutes into a game in a cup match, so they both get half each.
Yeah, but I'm not sure who else they thought we were going to play, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, you give if you got the luxury with the number of subs you've got and the competition you're in, give them half a game each. They've got some practice, they've got the legs and everything else, but they're not knackered for the big game coming up. Yes, yeah. Surprised McManaman doesn't understand that.
Nah, sub means injured.
Yeah, and someone not playing means dropped. It's that sort of, it's still in that world, isn't it?
Rotation still doesn't exist. Where were we up to? I have to mention great defending with Ibou's arse. Just to mention that was fantastic.
Twice.
They did just keep getting him behind for this 10-minute period. Then there was that corner. But Dave, I mean, we spoke about our goalkeeper there being good. Their goalkeeper for the second goal. Now, I was like only half concentrating because I think I was noting stuff down. And I just see here, Darwin scored a worldie. So my note is Darwin, oof. And then I go, their goalkeeper shit, isn't he?
I don't know. I think Steve McManaman made him out to be some sort of clown tonight. I don't think that's bad goalkeeping. I think that's just a really vicious shot. That's properly, like, Darwin has whipped that around the defender with a serious amount of dip on it. And if you watch the flight of the ball, it's almost knuckleball-y in the way that it's moving. Like, it's not rotating. It's sort of wobbling through the air. I just think it's an unbelievable strike, personally. And I think it's harsh to blame the goalkeeper. Could he have been further back on his line? Yeah, of course he could. But I just think you've got to hold your hands up and say Darwin has scored a worldie here. And Steve McManaman needs to go and have a wee chat with himself, because clearly he's a bit miserable. Maybe the wife has him sleeping on the couch or in the spare room. I'm not quite sure. But he seemed just to want to put down everything that we did tonight.
Well, that is the way. I mean, Carragher gets negative when he's commentated on Liverpool games. Might just be the way. Might be me.
That's the Evertonian in them.
It's the way too much with football, though, isn't it? You know, you see something happens and, you know, a great strike from a great player. Oh, what was the goalkeeper doing off his line slightly? What was, you know, we should have been slightly more to the right, you know, instantly looking for negatives rather than, you know, focusing on the positives. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're the coach, you're going to be looking for things that your player could do better. But, you know, as fans watching the game, can we not just enjoy the good stuff more? It feels like with some of these ex-players, no, we can't.
I don't know. I thought it was shit goalkeeping. But no, it is a vicious strike. And Jim, that was the 1,000th goal under Klopp. I believe Chan was the first. Now, almost poetically, it's Darwin Núñez, who seems to be one of these who will be the big players. God, I hate this 2.0 bullshit. But this Liverpool 2.0 seems like Darwin Núñez is going to be one of the key pillars in this next team, Klopp and beyond. So it is kind of fitting that it's him with the 1,000th goal in Klopp.
Yeah, and I mean, what did it tell you about how much we've changed as well since Jurgen came along? I mean, there's 1,000 goals, and obviously it's not 1,000 people who got them, but some of the names on that list from the early on days and that, and some of the assists maybe from early on, you know. I mean, Emre Can was, I don't know, the big new hope for us when we signed him. We saw some promising moments, but I just can't imagine him ever being a sort of mainstay of a Klopp side. You know, I just think
that hair though.
Well, when he left the club, he'd played more games for us under Klopp than any other player. So he was the mainstay in midfield. He was the number one pick in midfield. And Jurgen tried desperately to keep him, so...
Yeah, I suppose, but...
100 was a Lallana, to be fair.
Yeah, but that's the trouble, isn't it? I mean, we've had so many players that we've wondered why Klopp has persevered with them. I mean, my issue with Chan was that he was better than he played, if that makes sense sometimes with him. You know, he doesn't... I just don't think he always put everything into it, and I think we've not got as many of those players around nowadays that we've had. We've had them at times. How many times on Raw have we sort of mentioned players who were sort of saying it's not doing well enough and why is Klopp still persevering with him? And eventually, quite a lot of the cases, they do come good. But yeah, 1,000 goals in the Klopp, that's a hell of a lot. Especially to me, because it feels like it's only like last week that Klopp joined the club. That time has flown. But they've not just been 1,000 goals, you know, that mean nothing. A lot of those goals mean something. That 1,000th goal tonight was potentially something that, you know, gave us that cushion tonight and sent us on the way to a potential final.
Andy Wales pointed out that Szoboszlai scored the 900, which will tell you like just how mental we've been this season. 110 goals.
I was something saying, are we the highest scorers in
the top 5 leagues?
Top 5, yeah, which is
in 43 games. Sensational. Yeah. And we've got 20 games left. 11 in the league. 6 more in this, and 3 more in the FA Cup. Yeah, 20 games left.
And how many games have we had without all 5 of our, you know, front 3
it's available? The most Mo's missed ever in a season, isn't it? So.
Yeah. Like it's that's like Mo's missed. Mo has played 50 and 50, 20 tonight, including stoppage time. He's played about 70 minutes since the 1st of January.
Yeah.
Jota's had 2 injury spells. Darwin missed a couple of games. Diaz took a while to get going this season. Gakpo hasn't really got going this season. Dominic's missed some games. He'd be a goal threat as well. Like it's absolutely incredible that we've been able to put forward these numbers. And like even defensively for as open as we played, and tonight we were just mental tonight. We've only conceded 40 goals in 43 games, like plus 70 through 43 games across all competitions. And I know some of them are against lower caliber opposition, but like we have been incredible this season given the circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. My favourite landmark goal, 400, Toby Alderweireld, own goal. Fantastic stuff. Right, where were we? On 2-0 there. Dave, coming to you, I mean, we mentioned Gakpo there and he's not really got going. It's just another one of those games. Obviously, he's done well in this tournament. I think he was top goal scorer after the group stage. It might have changed in the last couple of games. But it just, nothing seemed to click with him. Like, he went on that one run where he looked majestic, almost like that Southampton run where he's like, oh, I am good at football. But it just everything, like passes were overhit, kick going behind. Even the good stuff, it just seems he's not on the same wavelength. Even when he does good stuff, it just never seems to click with the rest of his team. It's a very frustrating time for him, I think, at the minute.
He rivaled Robbo for the worst player on the pitch tonight, but I would give him a pass because why is he playing right wing? I just don't understand why he's playing right wing when Diaz could play right wing and offer a lot more in that role, and that would allow Cody to play left wing, where I can only think of one game this season where Cody's played left wing and he was pretty good, and yet he gets chucked out on the right. He's been chucked into midfield. Those type of things aren't helping him. It doesn't fit his game. Tonight, he had a couple of lovely dribbles. He'd one in the first half where he beat 2 or 3 players and then got rugby tackled, and the referee told him to get up. And then he'd one in the second half where I think he went to lay the ball off to Mo and just gave it to one of their players, even though Mo was 3 yards away. There was just, he'd do a good thing and then he'd followed up with a bad thing. But the funny thing about football is, like, we could very easily be sitting here and talking about a Cody Gakpo hat-trick. Because he has 3 big chances in the game and forces one really... Either he forced a really good save or hit the post. I don't think we got a definitive replay.
It was a save.
Was it a save?
Yeah, they showed it eventually.
So there's that one. Then there's the one a few minutes later when he should score. And then there's the one in the second half where he definitely should score. But, like, it's those small margins. If he just strikes the ball a little cleaner on the 2 that he makes a hames of, and the keeper just doesn't get down and claw that one out for the other one. Like, he hasn't played any differently, but he scored a hat-trick, and we're sitting here going, God, Cody Gakpo with a hat-trick. Jesus, what a performance.
He was also the victim of the keeper's one good moment as well, wasn't he? When, that's what sort of luck he's got as well.
He must have been fuming because, like, the Diaz goal's a little bit lucky, and the Dominic goal, you could say the keeper should do better, and the Darwin one, you're like, yeah, okay. I thought it was a great strike.
One was weak.
But like the one great save the keeper makes is from Cody. He must just think things are conspiring against him.
I think what's good about him, though, is, and we've said it a lot about Nunez, is that Nunez will have these efforts. He blazes one over, he misses a sit or whatever. Everyone's slagging him off. He just sort of turns around, smiles, laughs, and has another go a minute later. And I think it's not in quite the same way, but I think that's one thing about Gakpo is he does keep trying, he does keep trying. And I think if you do that, eventually it's going to work out for you.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Agreed.
Because he is probably the cleanest striker of the ball in the forward line. I'd probably say.
Oh, definitely, yeah. His ball striking ability is absolutely sensational. But we're losing a lot of that because we're not playing him on the right side. If we played him on the left and had him coming in onto his right foot, I mean, some of the goals he got for PSV, drifting in, picking up the type of ball that Alexis likes to play in between centre-back and right-back, jinking back out and bending it into the top corner. Like, Cody was scoring them every second or third week for PSV, and we're not putting him in positions. But if you think back to that great goal he scored against United in the 7-0 to get us going, he started on the left. Robbo played that ball into that same gap. He cut back out and just bent it into the bottom corner. Like, that's the type of goal Cody Gakpo made his reputation on, and we don't take advantage of the fact that he can do that for us on a regular basis.
And didn't Diaz play on the right for us a couple of times? Probably when Mo was.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
and
when
he looked good.
And he looked amazing, didn't he? And I just don't understand why that didn't carry on.
Yeah, very strange. Very, very strange. They should have scored in about I think it was about the 37th minute. Yeah, 36th minute actually. Elliot gets caught after a Kwanzaa pass. I think Elliot was just sleeping. They go through. Kelleher gets a good save, but the lad just cannot sort his feet out. I think he tries to take a shot with both his feet and just falls over. I mean, Jim, the half's not even over, but Jim, this half was bloody mental, and I think this is probably the summary of it, because, yeah, it's kind of crap defending by us and crap midfield play. They should score, they don't, and you just kind of sat there laughing and like, bloody Europa League.
It's mad, isn't it? It's like, they should have like a sort of soundtrack over the top of it, like a 1920s piano or something. It's just some sort of really mad stuff from them. I mean, I WhatsApped someone around that time, maybe just before that, and said we need a third here, because it felt like that kind of game where we could be 2-0 up and be, supposedly cruising, then next thing you know it's 2-2, and the last thing you need in a place like that with a crowd like that is to give them a sniff of a chance that they're back in the game. And if that had gone in, it would have been. But at first I was thinking, why didn't Kelleher do better with the save? And that was harsh of me, because when I looked at the replay, he did well to do what he did. And in all honesty, my criticism then was, why the hell did that player basically have the whole of the box to himself with the ball? Open goal. None of our defenders were anywhere near getting back and catching up, which was, maybe I'm being harsh, maybe I should look at the replay again, but it felt like, and he had all the time in the world. We weren't coming anywhere near to challenge him. He wasn't under any pressure. And that's the only thing I can think of, is that he just assumed there was going to be a defender breathing down his neck. Because what he did with the ball, I don't think he could do that again if he tried.
Oh, I don't know.
And if he did, he wouldn't stay on his feet. That's the only other thing. It was just panic, wasn't it? And I'm glad he panicked, because he definitely would have made a difference at 2-1. I'm not saying we want to come out as winners, but, they would have definitely changed things in the game. And again, though, there's something about this side that we just seem to be able to do enough to keep teams at bay so far. We need to keep it going a bit longer. And maybe we'll get onto it. But let's face it, if that had been Man City getting that kind of open run at goals and stuff like that, it wouldn't have been the same storyline, never mind scoreline.
Yeah, very true. And even just taking into this account against Sparta, 5-2 or 3, which it probably should have been, probably some more goals for us, if anything, but they could have scored a few, and the tie would have been almost dead, but we would have had to have at least played a good collection of first teamers, whereas now you can kind of pick and choose a lot more, I think. But yeah. They had an offside chance. It was just a goalkeeper punt. He was miles off, but it looked a bit weird at the time. Then we had that Gakpo shot where he did a nice turn. The keeper saved it. Then we had Gakpo's next chance where Diaz had sent him through with a nice through ball. Just couldn't seem to get away from the defender, and then had to turn back. And again, I think the keeper saved it quite well. They have a shot from the edge of the box, comfortably saved by Cuivine. And then Dave, coming to you, 3-0 just before half-time. Mac does brilliantly. Nice pass again. Darwin lets it bounce a few times with a half volley. Just a lovely, lovely aesthetic goal.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous aesthetic goal. It's a brilliant pass by Alexis into space. And like you said, Darwin does really well. He lets the ball sit right for him. He doesn't try and rush it. You'd wonder if he hadn't already scored the one worldie, does he maybe snatch at it? The defender does him a bit of a favour by standing back. You'd be fuming if that was one of our defenders, but it's a great strike, and it fully deserved a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And it keeps on Darwin's form ahead of the weekend and, well, the rest of the season as well, which is just nice. Then we get to half-time, and before we've even settled into life, I didn't even know Bradley was on, and then he scored a bloody own goal, Jim.
Yeah, they play these games just when you're having your tea or whatever you call it. It's tea round here. They play these games at this time of night. You're going to miss things, aren't you? I also didn't know that Bradley had come on until he's looking crestfallen, because he's just turned it into the back of his own net, and it felt like a team talk goal, that almost. Their managers got them in at half time and said, "Look, you're 3-0 down, but you should be 2-2. It could have been so different. Get out there. They're there for the taking. Let's try and get one back." Almost Rafa's half-time talk in Istanbul, and they pulled it back to 3-1 a minute in. I know VAR took a little bit of a while to go and check it, but I don't know. Without even looking what the decision should be, I just thought it was just going through the motions. They're going to score, but yeah, I mean, to say we weren't awake, I don't know. They were just so fast. I think something about that side tonight. They were just so fast on the counter, so
the
fast.
The atmosphere was fantastic, even from the telly, to be fair.
Yeah, even though they had to get some guy to keep... I wasn't sure what was going on. Was some guy breaking into like the room where they do the announcements? Like, I could just imagine their equivalent of George being tied up in the corner on his chair as this guy sort of getting hold of the mic and egging them all on. But whatever they did, it worked. They were loud. It was a proper European night. It felt like that, a proper European away fixture. Probably the first one it's really felt like this season in a lot of ways. Because I know we're down there in the Europa League, but that felt like a proper big European night sort of atmosphere. But yeah, I mean, Bradley's just come on. He's unfortunate. You can see how bad he felt about it, and I hope he just accepts that this is part of the game. You know, on another day, he'd have deflected it wide rather than in. The thing from us, though, well, yeah. I mean, it's like, at least he didn't score two in one game like Carragher did that time. And you know what? It's how you react to that, and I think, as we'll talk about soon, we didn't. It wasn't heads down thinking, oh my God, we're under the cosh. And being 3-1 up is so different to being 2-1 up. But I'm thinking, we could do with getting another goal, because with the noise from that crowd, if they'd have got another goal at that point, made it 3-2, you just know it would have been a hard night for us. Because it gets to that stage where everything's going against you. The ref starts being stupid in a different kind of way, gives decisions based on the noise that the home crowd are making. So, yeah, it was just one of those moments. And I think, as you say, though, I was the same. I didn't realise that Gomez had gone off and Bradley had come on. And at that point, as I'm thinking this to myself, I'm thinking, he is almost certainly on, because they've decided to give him half a game each.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Jurgen has said Joe Gomez is not injured, so...
Right.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's good news. He's also said that they've checked the Salah goal and he was definitely onside, but we'll get to it. I think the guy running down the right-hand side is offside for their goal.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought, have I missed something?
I'm not buying it, because we got one slight frame that showed a line drawn off Ibou and no line drawn off their player. So I'm not buying it at all. Like, it's just a horseshit call. There's no way he's onside. He's a good yard the far side of Kwanzaa, and there's no way there's a yard between Ibou and Kwanzaa. So I'm not having it at all. But it does come from somebody being out of position and everybody having to shift across because of it.
Also, is it AI? Is it AI that decides offsides in the Europa League? And AI never gets things wrong.
No, it's just people. It's just they don't show it us though for some reason.
They don't have the budget for AI in the Europa League.
No, but why is it? Because was it Saint Gilloise was the Alexis handball one, and the Toulouse? No, was Toulouse the handball one? Then we had a questionable offside as well, didn't we? I'm not sure if like any Brighton fans are out like that have had this issue, but
there's been a goal tonight in the Brighton game. Now, to be fair, it's a goal that doesn't really make much difference. Well, it was a third goal, actually. It's the Mancini goal. He's very clearly offside as the ball is played into him, and he scores to make it 3-0, and then 4 minutes later they make it 4-0. And you'd wonder, if they don't get the third, do they get the fourth? but it's very clearly offside, and it's been given against Brighton. So, yeah, it looks like the English club's got a little bit of a raw deal tonight.
I think it's good of the European refs to show that you can be shit at VAR in different ways to how they shit at VAR in this country. You know,
at least our lads show that they just get. We just sit there for half an hour thinking that was definitely fucking onside, wasn't it? At least we get 10 minutes of some usually bald referee picking a fucking line in our country.
I think
which one's worse.
The decisions are quite quick though. That is the other difference as well. I mean, what was that? Was it the United game or something? It had like a 4-hour decision over a goal that was ruled not offside, even though it was exactly like the one that we'd had ruled offside a few days before. You know, it seems to be quick in European games, which in some ways might not be a bad thing. You know, say something like you've got 25 seconds to make a decision. After that, the on-field decision stands. It might just be.
I'd still like to see it, though, Jim, to be fair.
Well, yes, yeah.
With the quickness and the visibility, and then we can at least forgive.
It's funny because the ref sat there with the ruler, isn't he, on his screen trying to work? That's the lines he's drawing with the pencil.
Or a gun to his head. One of the two. Yeah, refereeing's not great, but we'll come on to that when we see Salah's disallowed goal. This is where the injuries start to happen. Ibou, we mentioned it earlier, precautionary. Hopefully he's all right for the weekend. If not, hopefully he's then probably not the second leg. Maybe United in the Cup, depending how seriously we take that. But then Van Dijk comes on for Ibou, obviously, and then Dom comes on for... Who did Dom come on for? Núñez, of course.
Yeah.
And then, again, the game's just mental all the way through. Dave, 4-1. Diaz, it's really well played. Kind of a lucky finish because it deflects past the goalkeeper, but Bradley to Elliott, and then Elliott just finds Diaz in the box and shot deflects in.
Yeah, it's a really nicely worked goal. I was actually hoping Harvey'd get the shot away because I thought he deserved a goal, and I think his performances of late deserved a goal. But he managed to generate 3 assists tonight from 0.15 XA, which is quite remarkable. But then you realise the Darwin shot had no business going in, and Dominic picks the ball up and carries it at quite a distance before scoring. So it's mostly from the Diaz assist that is 0.15 XA comes. But 3 assists for Harvey tonight, and really unselfish in that moment as well. You know, and then showing why he's a player that's so highly regarded by the coaching staff, because he put in another epic shift again tonight.
Yeah, another full game as well, considering the month he's had. Wild to think. Yeah, Jim, if you want to add anything onto the goal, feel free, but we'll move on from and go through the next few little bits. Kelleher tips over a shot from just before halfway. Gakpo has another chance to save. Again, the keeper tries against Gakpo. It's like when your mates at 5-a-side and you're in goal and you're like, I will try against you. Clark comes on for Mac. Mac needs a rest, and we need to protect him. As we mentioned, he's very important. Then 73 Mo comes on. Yeah, nice to have Mo back, but if you want to mention anything on that, on the Diaz goal, feel free, Jim. But it's nice to have Mo back as well.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I looked at him warming up and I thought, I'm not sure if we'll actually see him. I'm thinking, whatever the original plan was, do we want to risk him, this late on in a game, when they're getting more and more pissed off and could actually decide to have a hack at him? And then I'm thinking, yeah, we do. We just need to get him to get some of those minutes, get his hand in again. He's not played properly for us, as you mentioned, since January. He's not played much more than that anyway, because he didn't play much while he was away with his country, did he? So you need to get him on, need to get him playing, need to get him worrying them. And it is such a nice sight to see Mo on the pitch again, doing his thing in his effortless way. As we'll talk about in a bit, he was unlucky not to get a goal. The Diaz goal, yeah, it just felt like it was the right time for us to get that. As I said, we need to get that cushion back again. And I think he's put so much of a shift in this last few weeks. He's played many more minutes maybe than he should have done. He's one of those players that's kind of, like you mentioned with Elliott, he's played so many minutes lately, and it's good to see him get some reward for the effort he's putting in. And I think this is one thing about this squad. Whatever happens at the end of this season, whatever silverware we may or may not lift, whatever medals are being handed out, there's going to be a lot of players that have earned that medal if they get one, if that's what happens, because they've all played such an important part, so many of them in so many different ways. And Clark coming on actually is another player worth a mention. I mean, he came on for McAllister, and obviously he's going to be he's going to be behind McAllister in the pecking order. But again, it's another one of those players that, because of injuries and because of having to force players into games where maybe we wouldn't have dreamt of it, another player I think we can rely on if we need to, if we start having more injuries. But my worry for players like him, as players do start to come back, is whether he'll get those chances. But I think when he gets them, you've got to take them. And I think he was a good sub tonight, and he definitely, he definitely was worth his place in the side when he came on.
Yeah, there'll certainly be a few minutes left. You'd expect him to start the second leg, maybe probably be at least on the bench against United, you'd think. And then who the hell knows who we get in this competition? I mean, Karabag tested Leverkusen, so there is surprises to be had in this game. I mean,
we don't want Roma by the looks of it, but yeah.
No, well, for multiple reasons, I imagine we don't want Roma, considering the fan trouble. We don't need that again. But yeah, it was it's good goal, and good to have Mo back. Some good defending by Kwanzaa, but it was offside anyway. That was about the 79th minute. And then, Dave, coming to you, the Mo Salah goal that should have stood. It's a shame because it would. I think it would have been his 20th goal for the 5th season in a row. I think it was
7th.
Season in a row. Jesus Christ, I'm doing him a disservice.
It's brilliant by Bobby Clark to win the ball back, and then it's just worked really well to Mo. And there's just no chance he's offside. Like, he's looking, he can see the defender. He purposely takes up his position on the last defender. He's one of the smartest players in the world. There's absolutely no chance he gets caught. He's offside. None at all. Now, whether they've given the offside against Gakpo because he was in a bit of a central area and they're making out that he was interfering with play or distracting the goalkeeper, I've no idea. But there's just no way Mo was offside. And they never showed us a replay. They never showed us any kind of replay. Never showed us. They showed us a replay, but never showed us anything with lines. Never gave us any real explanation. But it's not TNT's fault. Obviously, it's whoever the local broadcaster is that had the rights for the game that TNT are then feeding off. But some of the stuff they showed us replays of was just mental. Like, they showed us 4 replays of the right back trying to lob Kelleher from the halfway line, and showed us 1 replay of the Diaz goal. You know, like, just bizarre. Obviously playing to the home crowd, but like, just really strange decisions throughout the game in terms of what they showed. And like I said, they didn't show us that goal with lines, and I would guarantee if there were lines put on, he's not offside. And Jurgen has said they've looked back at it, and he wasn't offside.
They didn't even show it from an angle that really told you much either, did they? From what I remember, and it was a glimpse. It was only a glimpse anyway. You didn't get a chance to have a proper good look at it, which is
even in real time, like 5-second replay they did show. It was like, I think everyone who had the same thing. As soon as I saw it on WhatsApp, I was like, "What? He's onside." It's just,
and there's normally a bit of a doubt, isn't there? Like, officials, you normally notice that, like, you can tell they weren't sure. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're not sure. They've gone with that decision that they've gone with, but they're not sure, and they're glad the VAR is going to come along and just put them right or whatever. And I don't know. The officials didn't even seem to be thinking that was close. It was like, oh, really?
But, yeah, very strange. Very strange. But Jim, to finish off with you, Dom just fancies going on a mooch, going on an adventure, as Lord of the Rings says, as The Hobbit says, I should say, wrong film. Yeah, he just fancies a goal himself, and then just takes it 30, 40 yards, if not longer. Just, well, this one we can agree on, the keeper was shit for. But yeah, Dom, we mentioned Mo being back, maybe not as important as Mo, because, well, Mo's Mo, but Dom being back, another option in midfield, and, well, the game he left us, that Chelsea game, he was bloody phenomenal. So to have him back ahead of City and getting 35, 40 minutes in the game, maybe not ready to start, or maybe you wouldn't want to start him against City, but we know he at least has the legs for a half of football, so very good to have him back ahead of the big game at the weekend.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was just before Salah's goal, a few minutes before that, they had he had a moment in front of goal and he sort of needed to sort of move it from one foot to the other foot, back to the other foot because there was a defender in the way. And by then, the effort he made was pretty easy for that keeper to save. But yeah, he just perseveres, doesn't he? And I think what he's got as well is it's that creative side to him, isn't it? You know, he's not 100% yet. He's not back to full strength Dom just yet. He's going to probably take a bit of time to do it, as you say. And maybe that'll come in the City game. Maybe it will be later on in the City game. I would be surprised if he started because he does still look a little bit rusty. And it might just sort of be a bit much for that game. But I think if he can come on later on, he can make a difference because he's got that creative streak in him that just can just change things. But today he didn't seem to be creativity that was necessarily his thing in terms of creating it for his teammates. Because I think the way I've written it down is that Dom just completely ignores Mo and makes it 5. Because I think at the time you're thinking, oh, God, Mo's just had that chalked off. It was, a milestone goal and all the rest of it. Here you are, Dom, put Mo through, let him have that goal back he just had taken off him. And no, only one thing on his mind, and that's to score, and that's fine. Early on in the game, we were talking about how Núñez maybe and Diaz were in each other's way, and one of them had made a decision. If they both made the same decision, it's yours or it's mine, then maybe there'd have been a goal instead of them getting in each other's way. And I think this is what's good about when you're working well as a team, that when it's your moment. Probably fancied it though against that keeper as well. Probably thought there's only Gakpo that he's trying against, and so it's worth a try. And exactly. It was just a nice way to end the game. Just that scoreline 5-1. We're talking about what kind of team we can part in the next round. I'm guessing they're going to be thinking, let's not bother putting a team out in the next game. We'll just send the kids themselves because.
Well, remember that Porto game from a few years ago where it was the most pointless game of football anyone's ever watched.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got tickets for this game, mate, I'd say take a book just in case.
Yeah, take a stream. You can watch the other games, I think. Dave, Dom being back for you, probably good note to finish off on.
Yeah, I would actually start him on Sunday, to be totally honest, but it's not necessarily about sharpness for me. It's the power and the ability to press and harry and harass people. And Harvey just having played so much and so many minutes in recent games, I think Dom would just have a bit more in the tank. Even if it's just to give us 60 minutes and then you bring Harvey on for 30.
We know what Elliot's like from the bench.
But that's the thing. Harvey against tired defenders, I think that's definitely something that we could take advantage of. And the thing with City as well is, which is one of the reasons I played Dom is really quick and City are a little bit slow. Like they're quite plodding. Diaz is not quick. Rodri's not quick. Stones is not quick. Akanji looks like he should be quick, but really isn't. And I do think if we can get as much pace into our team and really explode at them on Sunday, I think that's how we beat them. I think we overrun them, we beat them.
Yeah, bloody hope so. Bloody well hope so. Any final thoughts from either of you before we finish up, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, let's face it. This competition gets done down, and I'm sure the Czech league isn't the strongest in the world and all the rest of it. But as far as I know, I think they're top of their league. They're a team that could easily have done something to us tonight. And I think, although you sort of we've just analysed it and found a couple of weaknesses in our side, they're weaknesses that Klopp and the lads can take away, look at, and improve on before Sunday. So in a way, there's a little bit of good out of those weaknesses because. As much as Pep will have been watching and thinking, let's exploit them, we can think, let's just make sure we plug them. And I think that 5-1 scoreline, I know City did well in their European game, but 5-1, it's just once again, it's what it says in terms of the next game. It's sending out a message. These lads can score. These lads can score when some of them are sort of, missing. They haven't played every game. They're not fully fit. We can score goals. And I think this is what, City can score goals. We can score goals. And I think this is the message I think it kind of sends out, that we can score more than you. And I hope that is what happens. I think it was a strong enough team to get us that result, but considering that it was quite a shuffled team still, it could have been stronger. I think it was still an amazing result. Sets us up beautifully, I think, for Sunday's game, which, let's face it, when I was looking at the lineup before the game and all the way through the game, all that we're thinking of is that City game. It's hard to do the whole one game at a time thing when you know that game's looming because it's massive. It's the biggest... at least the biggest match we've had against them since they started to get all their money and start to become good.
Probably since our Champions League time, really.
Yeah, it's massive. Because I think, we win it and it stays in our control, doesn't it? A draw, it stays in our control because I don't think Arsenal will necessarily win. If City only manage a draw against us, I can't see them losing against Arsenal. So, massive game on Sunday. But the best way to go into that game is to go into it wanting to win. Never mind hoping for draws. And I think we sent a message out tonight that we know how to win games.
Yeah, Dave, and any final thoughts from you?
No, exactly the same as Jim. Go and beat City now. Go 4 points ahead of them. And then I like Jim, don't think Arsenal are going to the Etihad and beating them. I also think Arsenal will drop points in a couple of other games. But if we beat them, that means we can drop points somewhere along the way and still have an advantage over them. So it's huge for us. Like, it's absolutely monumental for us if we beat them. And look, we've played them in huge games. You know, we all remember that game in 13-14. We all remember those Champions League games. But I think Jim's right. I think this is the biggest one because Jurgen's leaving at the end of the season. And this could be title defining. So I think this might be the biggest game we've ever played against them. Because, since they were relevant in the 60s and 70s with Lee Bell and Summerby. But that's the last time they were relevant, and the only time in their history they've been relevant without cheating. So, you know, there is that. Yeah, look, Jim's right. People will try and put this competition down, and people will try and say, "Oh, it's only Sparta Prague." Their last home match in this competition, they beat Galatasaray 4-1. For those that don't remember, Galatasaray beat and drew at Manchester United in the Champions League and finished above Manchester United in the Champions League. So, yeah, they're not a top elite level team, but they also finished above Real Betis in their group stage. Now, if we had played Real Betis tonight and beat them 5-1, a team from La Liga, a big name club, people would be going, "Oh, wow, that's a really impressive result." Well, these finished above them. Real Betis are not very good, and these, like Jim said, are top of their own league, and defending champions of their own league. So they've clearly got a bit about them. You can see in the way they attack, they know what they want to be and they know what they want to do. It's just there is a slight lack of quality with a couple of the players. The budget Neymar they had playing right wing, who fell over his own feet when presented with an open goal, he'd be one of them that might lack a slight bit of quality, but at least he looks good, so that's fine. But no, look, great win. Performance, yeah, it was what it was. The game was a mess, but it's a great win. And 5-1 up, that tie is put to bed. They're not beating us by 4 goals at Anfield. I don't care if the 3 of us are drafted into play. They're not beating us by 4 goals at Anfield. So focus on City, then just get through that game next Thursday, and then it's United. And then it's the break. We come back out of the break, and with a bit of luck, and it's luck we deserve because we've been battered this season with injuries, with a bit of luck, Ali, Trent, Curtis and Gravenberch could all be back. That's 3 really important players for us. And Gravenberch, who gives us another body in midfield, a badly needed body in midfield. And then it's only a couple of weeks, hopefully, till Jota's back. And then if we've beaten City and we come back and we beat Brighton and City and Arsenal either ends in a draw or ends in a City win, then things shape up really well for us. With 9 games left in the league, we'll be through in this competition and hopefully through in the FA Cup, and the quadruple will be a real possibility at that point.
Absolutely, and that's where we'll finish up. Big thank you to everyone who's listened. Thank you to Dave and Jim again. Big thank you to everyone in Discord, especially, I should have said. But till the weekend, I'm guessing Trev will be back. We'll be back live on Discord, hopefully speaking about a win over Man City, as we've said. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.